Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a modern aquarium house. The name says it all. Not only do you have yourself a little modern house with everything that you might expect to find in a house, but you also have an aquarium. We have a downstairs area, and can anybody spot the Easter egg in the middle of the tank? But we also have an upstairs area where you can see the upper half of the tank, where the fish can also swim up to and around you as well. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please do remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all of my videos sent directly to your sub box. But without any further ado, let's get started. Here are all of the materials that you will need to make your house. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. And now that we have all of our stuff, we can get started. So the first thing that we have to do when making our aquarium house is we have to place a row of 7 glass blocks extending up from the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're then going to extend to the left by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then extend down by 2. 1, 2. Right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then join back down to the ground. Like this. We are going to take the side of this shape and we are going to extend it backwards by 8 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're just going to extend the entire row. If you do want a longer house, it won't really impact you. If you do want to make it longer, you could have an even larger aquarium / house. We also have to make the same shape on the back of the build as we did the front, so it's best really just to kind of take a nice look at the front of the build, apply it onto the back. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a struggle just to make something that's a few rows away from you. That should be good. Excellent. And then we have to fill this in. So we're going to fill the front, the back, and the sides in. Not 100% sure what we're going to be doing with the top quite yet. So when I say that, what I mean is I don't know whether I'm going to have the top of the build be glass. I don't know whether I'm going to fill it in with grey concrete. I don't know whether it's going to be quartz. We'll kind of leave it up in the air until a little bit later on. But what is important is that the majority of the sides are all filled in like this. And we'll fill in any gaps that we find as we go around. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come to the side of the build, specifically the left side. Underneath the glass on the left side of the build, we want to place a row of 8 grey concrete. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see it's 1 row away from the front, and we want to extend it all the way down to the ground like this. So we just want to create a solid wall, pretty much just like this. Now from this is going to stem the inside of the house, essentially. So what we're going to be doing from here is we also have to make where the front door is going to be. The front door is going to be just right of the last row of grey concrete. I'm going to destroy a block in the ground preemptively. I'm going to stick a door there. Right of the door, we are going to have a row of, at the very least, 1, 2, 3 grey concrete. And we're going to place grey concrete all the way around the door like this as well. We'll also place grey concrete underneath the glass, extending right so that it is parallel to the row that we have down below. I'm going to add a small window in here at the bottom using glass block with grey concrete on top, just kind of like this. The reason that I'm tentative to place grey concrete here is because I don't know if we can get slightly more tanks. So I'll tell you what we will do is we will just leave this open for now, but we actually need to place a row of grey concrete that extends outwards diagonally from the glass area here. So we have to place a grey concrete that extends outwards diagonally like this. And then we have to make this row of grey concrete as high as the glass at the very least. So we have to make it as high as the glass. And then I think that we're actually going to supersede it 1 row as well. We can then extend to the left and we want to overhang the glass that we have here on the front, and we want to join the glass downwards. So we're making a kind of sort of an archway shape, so to speak, like this. We want to extend the inward corner of grey concrete here across the back of the build, and we want to overhang the back of the build by 1 row. On the opposite side, the side that you can actually see, we want to use smooth quartz slabs, and we want to place a row of smooth quartz slabs extending backwards that will eventually end with a grey concrete block like this. And the grey concrete block wants to join down to the ground. And something that I should have mentioned as well, of course, is that this one does also want to join to the ground as well. Just like so. And what we also want to do is we want to join the grey concrete together at the top. The side of the build is a little bit more extravagant in the fact that we want to leave a gap or half gap between the quartz slab, and then we want to place like another quartz slab like this. So that second row of smooth quartz slab is actually fairly important because we want to follow it round. We want to place it underneath this grey concrete here. We want to place it along and through the top of the glass block area, extending all the way through the back of the build and joining where we first started. What that also allows us to do is place grey concrete on top of the glass area of our aquarium, like this, and then we can trim it around the top using smooth quartz slabs, so it kind of puts us in a nice position to add all of these finishing touches like this that you can see are present throughout the entire build in some fashion or another. Another way in which the smooth quartz slab is used is we have to place it above the top of the entrance here. But we're actually going to extend the smooth quartz slab an additional row forwards like this, and we're going to extend it around the tank once more. So this will actually add a little bit more detail. It will help to divide the tank somewhat. The row is mainly used decoratively, but what it also does signify is where the second level of the tank actually is, as inside of our tank we're actually going to have a bedroom suspended and surrounded by the water, so it's actually a good marker for that as well. Something else that I would recommend is just placing smooth quartz slabs around the base of the right side of the build. This is the large portion of the tank, so it kind of helps to highlight that fact and separate it from the entrance and living area. Or at least I think it makes it look better anyway. So now that we have done that, we should really think about the back of the build as well. So on the back of the build, pretty much, it's kind of up to you with this, but I'd recommend just filling in this empty space using grey concrete. I don't think that we really have to add any windows or anything back here. But do feel free to use some oak leaves to kind of like decorate the outside of your house, even coming so far as next to the entrance and also right of the entrance as well. This is where the shovel comes in too. The shovel is actually used to dig out a nice little bit of a path just in front of the house. And if you want, now this is optional. This completely depends whether you want to have any lights above your door. So if you want lights above your door, you might want to place an additional layer of smooth quartz slab, and then that'll allow you to hang lanterns above your door. But if you're not bothered about that, you might want to leave it. On the inside of the build, this is where the glass is going to go. So on the inside of the build, basically where this row of grey concrete is here on the front and the back, we're going to cut off the tank here. So we're going to have a glass block, right? We're going to have a wall of glass block that actually extends upwards, and it will meet the glass that we have already placed, if that makes sense. So we can extend it up and it will kind of just slot into here. Now this is the living space inside of the tank. I would recommend making the ceiling to your living space sandstone block. The reason is because it sort of blends into the rest of the tank that way. You'll see what I mean as we progress. Let's just make sure that there's nothing else that we have left to make on the outside of the tank before we make any more changes, but I actually think that the tank, the aquarium, is actually looking pretty good. This is perfect. So the next thing that we should do is we should really figure out where the fish are going to be living exactly, and we should really like highlight some areas and make it look a little bit nicer. So we need sea lanterns, we need sand, we might even need some grey concrete, and for light a little bit later on we'll use lanterns and we'll use sea pickles, but I don't, yeah, they can actually survive out of water, I do believe, so it's okay. So I'm going to dig out the area inside of the lower part of the tank. So this area I'm going to make the ground sand. So it makes a little bit more sense now, right, when I tell you that that's sandstone. So underneath the glass, you can do one of two things. You can make it just sand, because it's actually quite well hidden from the eye anyway, so you can just use sand, or you can frame your tank a little bit better and you can use grey concrete. Personally, grey concrete, I think, is the material for me, because it really does, it contrasts very well against the pretty much transparent material of the glass and the white of the smooth quartz slab. So you might also want to install lights in here as well, so you can do that in any number of ways. So there's actually a middle to the side of the tank, so you could start there by placing a sea lantern, and there's also of course a middle, we can place it on the opposite side here as well. And then there's not really a middle, so to speak, like in the back of the build, so you'd have to kind of like divide it up, or you can just place like sea lanterns in the corners, and that should actually keep things nicely lit. So only really on the sides do you have an odd number of blocks, so you can really place just literally just one block in the middle, but it's kind of like it's an odd number on the front and the back, unfortunately, but that's okay. We can now place sand inside of this area. Feel free to dig down if you want a bit of a deeper aquarium. I want to see everything kind of like on the surface as I'm outside, so I'd recommend chucking a lantern or so just inside your aquarium. I'd also light it up using sea pickles. They provide a nice little bit of light. Do the same. Well, you can't exactly do the same up top, because here's where things get a little bit different, right? So we have to essentially make what is a glass case here, so that we can actually enjoy our aquarium from inside the aquarium, if that makes sense. So around the edge of, basically, where we have the grey concrete, we kind of just want to place glass around the edge, and we just want to make a room that allows the fish to swim around it, kind of like this, and it allows us to not drown. Essentially. So we want to have kind of like a little glass chamber, a glass case that kind of just sits in the middle of things like this. It's hard to see from the outside, but if we actually get in it, boom, perfect. Can we get any closer to that? No, we can't actually. I mean, if you want the fish to be able to swim around you, then you'll want to have it like this. But you can actually make it a tad bit bigger if you don't need them swimming necessarily around you, but to the sides of you. That's kind of a choice that you can make. Another option, by the way, is you can extend this outwards so that you have an even larger space to just kind of like sit and chill inside. We also have to make a decision of what the ceiling is going to be, what the roof's going to be like. If you want a nice, light and bright aquarium, especially during the day, then I'd recommend using glass. If you want a bit of a darker vibe of your aquarium, you'll use grey concrete. We can demonstrate both of these by having like one half be one way and one half be the other way. We're going to have to leave a little gap for us to actually be able to get in though. But now that we've done that, I just want to make a way to actually get up into our room. So if you take note of where the sea lantern is here in the middle, where the sea pickle's just opposite it, this should pretty much signify where the middle of our little chamber is, and we can actually like follow this up the wall. We can destroy this block, and depending upon the style of your chamber, whether it connects to the outer wall or whether the fish can actually swim around it, you'll either, number one, you'll be able to climb up the wall just using ladders, and you'll be able to climb directly into your chamber, just kind of like here, like this. You might even want to keep it a little bit separate from the entrance so you don't accidentally just start climbing as you walk in. Or you'll have to place like a row, you know, maybe like here against this wall or here, and then you'll be able to get in that way. And this will actually leave you a good amount of space to have like maybe to have, this can either be like an observation chamber, or you can have a couple of things up here like some armor and an ender chest, maybe even a bed or something. So yeah, I think that that's a pretty cool design. If you kind of want to keep a similar sort of vibe as outside of as like inside of your aquarium, inside of your house, feel free to use sand as a floor. I don't want that. I actually want to keep it nice and separate, really, so I'm going to be using oak planks. It's not the largest amount of space inside here. I actually sort of want to make like an aquarium mansion. I think would be pretty cool, but I'm going to keep those ladders separate, and then now we can very easily say that we're pretty much ready to make the aquarium portion of this and then finish it off with the house. So, for the aquarium, what do we need? Number one, water. Water's going to be one of the most important things. I don't know why I don't have water on me. Literally, the one thing that is needed to sustain all life in the aquarium, I don't have. So I'm going to grab the water, and I'm going to grab kelp, seagrass, pickles for light. You can even use more lanterns, but I'd use those sparingly. And then you're just going to need all different kinds of coral, and a lot of coral, really. So let's fill this up with water, and we'll also be able to see the difference between like the naturally lit, oh no, the lanterns, and the sea pickles. That's okay, we can place that. I didn't realise that the water would destroy them. I'm not sure it actually works that way on Java. We'll have to see, we'll see. But let's fill this up with water. It should be fairly simple. I don't know if there's a more efficient way of doing this, by the way. Historically, I have a hard time placing water, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. When all the water's running smooth, we will be... Oh, God, I think I just saw a pickle just flying. We can sort this out nice and easy though. When everything's all smoothed out, basically just keep hammering the water in until eventually, and it might not do it until these areas are filled in as well. I'd recommend a snorkel if you're going to be doing this. So if we place more water against here, we have to do here as well. Remember to place it on the ceiling so that it kind of like that block. There we go. Remember to place it on the ceiling. Why are you... Oh, of course, because that's the hole in. Perfect. So, I don't think that we have any flowing water. Let's check from the outside. Let's make sure that it looks all right. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we just have some still water everywhere. That's absolutely what we're looking for. And if we just drop down onto the inside, we shouldn't need any water again, because I don't think that you can waterlog lanterns. I don't believe, but we can chuck like a lantern here. No, we can't. Okay. You can in Java. Okay, so we can't use lanterns then, fair enough, but you can use pickles. So we can place these all over the place. The more you use, the more, the nice little more light that you'll get. So here, and here. Seagrass kelp I really like, but you're gonna have to be careful with it because it grows all the way to the top of your tank. I actually really like kelp. It's one of my favorite underwater decoration blocks. Seagrass is good as well, but it's a little bit boring because it's just straight up green. So it's going to be up to you how much you want to use of that. But of course, the nicest, the most colourful, the most probably perhaps interesting block that we now have access to being underwater is the different kinds of coral, which is why I didn't submerge my tank so that I could actually see it. So we're going to want to use probably, you know, like you're going to want a lot of coral, loads of it. You might not want to kind of like crowd to your tank, perhaps. I mean, that's going to be up to you, but I like the idea of having a lot of coral everywhere. What can I do here? So maybe a pink. I'm trying not to bunch all the colours together if you guys can tell. I don't know if you can, but maybe like this. And that might be alright. And the seagrass or the kelp rather, I always get the name of it wrong somehow. I'm going to accelerate its growth because I do believe naturally it's going to hit the top of the tank anyway. So just help it a little bit. There we go. it's like I said, it's one of my favorites. I really like it, so I don't mind having a good amount. I might even chuck just one more in here. I might have just to make it look good. And basically, you can't tell until you're quite outside, really. But yes, perfect. That looks fantastic. I love that. You could even have like a little bit of an Easter egg, so to speak. So, if you wanted to, now this is up to you. It's a little bit of a silly one, alright, but here's what it is. I like the idea of having a little SpongeBob's house. Now, I don't know if you can place item frames underwater, but we'll certainly find out. I like the idea of having a little pineapple-looking thing. So, maybe just in the center, so here, with, if we can place seagrass on it, that'd actually be fantastic. Kelp would also work. It sort of works with the pickles as well. Yes. Okay. Yes, perfect. And then what'd be a good door? I mean, we could just straight up just place a door or a trap door on it. Nah, a trap door would require, maybe like, no, well, I love this. I literally just came up with this. I love this idea. This is fantastic. And then if we just chuck, oh yes. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Perfect. You could even have like a little sponge block hidden. If you really would, okay, this is minutia, but if you really wanted to, you could have like an item frame with like a sponge block in it. I kind of like that idea. Here we go, perfect. Now this, okay, so you're getting into a little bit of crazy town, but I like the idea that it's kind of cool just to hide it in your aquarium. I kind of like that, and the sponges also, obviously. I mean, you could even place that up here if you wanted to kind of like hide another Easter egg, but I really like that. And let's take a look at a bit of difference. So you can actually see quite well into the unlit part of the aquarium, and I don't think you actually gain much at all, actually. So it actually looks awesome no matter what you do. We have to put fish in it. I'm pretty much sticking exclusively to tropical fish and a few puffer fish. Oh my god, we should have a driving school in here. So how many puffer fish? Maybe 1, 2, 3. I don't think I placed that many, did I? No, 1 and 2. Let's have 3 then. And then we can have a lot of fish. It's actually a really big area, so you can fill it up quite nicely with fish. I mean, you probably have, I don't even know how many in here, and have it not look too cramped. So, yeah, perfect. We'll experiment with that kind of with that amount first, and we'll just head inside. So this is where you can actually get to see them. That is an awesome Easter egg. I love that. And you can just see the sponge to the side. That's perfect. So yeah, that's a good amount of fish. And as we go upstairs, you're going to see that that they kind of get all over the place as well. They do actually swim up and around, and it's actually really fun to see them. What can we put inside our house? Well, we can kind of put anything that we want. Let's kind of put your standard sort of survival interior in here. So, you know, your crafting tables, your utility tables, maybe some shelves as well, that we can store, I guess, fish food. mainly just fish food, and we can have an actual lantern inside here, so storage, maybe a bit of storage here as well. We don't really want to cramp it too much. We want to be able to look into our tank and kind of like enjoy it. If you wanted to, you could utilize the floor a little bit as well. If you wanted a little bit more storage in perhaps the form of barrels or chests, you could even sneak a little armor stand over here. But upstairs as well, do we have any fish swimming to the sides? I promise you that they actually do swim up and around. I mean, I guess the pufferfish sort of wants to come up here. See, they're on their way, so they do kind of get everywhere. It's really awesome. And you know, if you wanted to, you could obviously have yourself like a bed up here, and you're not going to want to place, like, you could have an armor stand, but you're not going to want to really cover up anywhere that you can actually see your fish. So perhaps like an armor stand there, and an end chest, and you know, you can have kind of like whatever here. But yeah. That's pretty much the house, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you've enjoyed making it. I really do love it. And I love the fact that we've got the little pineapple. The only question that I have is, would honeycomb look better? But I don't think that we're going to do that. I think that we'll just leave it as it is. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Click that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you do want to make anything else by me, check out the card system description below in the top of the comment section for more. Would you like to see a bigger version of this house, by the way? I'd kind of love to make like an aquarium mansion, maybe even with like a sea turtle part and maybe add some dolphins and some stuff like that. Let me know. I'd actually really be interested in that, I think. But thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.